Yet some kids are opting to leave some schools and do virtual. So are you forced to have those into everything because what I'm initially
In fact, last year, their friends are
oh boy. Yeah. I don't know. Nothing but trouble. There was over here, I don't know. Oh, that's an issue.
Okay, it's 9 o'clock. We'll call the Barron County Board of Supervisors for Monday, February 15th, 2021 in order, and have roll call and public notification.
Jim Gores.
Present.
Gary Nelson.
Here.
Roberta Mosentein.
Here.
Pete Olson.
Here.
Steve Johnson.
Here.
Carol Moen.
Here.
Online.
Eric Panier. Online.
He's online.
Louis Oakey.
Here.
Russ Rinzing.
Here.
Todd Gerlin.
Here.
Jerry McRoberts.
Here.
Marv Thompson. I think Marv's probably
He's
gone
south.
south.
He's in Gulf Shores.
Yeah. Bud Hanson. No Bud? Stacy Wenzel. Here. Dana Heller.
Here.
Bob Anderson.
Here.
Stan Buchanan.
Here.
Don Horstman. Bill Efforts.
Here.
Bert Skinner.
Here.
Dale Heineke.
Here.
Bob Rogers.
Here.
Online.
He's online.
Oscar Skogstad.
Yep.
John Banks.
Here.
Terry Lee.
Here. Online.
Carolyn Bartlett. Pam Ball.
Here.
Bill Schradel.
Present.
Gary Taxdell. Online as well.
Got a thumbs up.
All right. So at this time, we have 25 present and 4 absent. IDA and Cook County Clerk have complied with open meeting public notification laws. Meeting notices are posted on the electronic meeting notice board on the first and second floor of the Government Center and the main floor of the Justice Center. A hard copy is in the public meeting folder just inside the county clerk's office window. In addition, all 5 county newspapers have been notified. And this notice was posted on February 10th of 2021 by Wendy Coleman.
Okay, item number 2, the invocation of pledge of allegiance. We have Pastor Cody from Maranatha Church online. You're on,
All right.
Pastor.
Thank you. All right, join me in a word of prayer. Lord, on this
Can't
day,
hear you right now.
can you hear me? Anyone there? Are you able to hear me now? Are you able to hear me? Testing 1, 2.
Lance is getting it straightened out. Just a moment.
All right. Let me know when you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you
Yep,
now.
we can hear you.
Okay, great. All right, join me in a word of prayer, please. Lord, we thank you for this day, and we pray for our president. It's President's Day, so we lift up our President Biden and our Vice President Harris. We pray protection over them, but we also pray that you give them wisdom as they have to make many decisions during this transition time, and we pray that they would find some way to bring unity within our land. Lord, we also pray for our county officials as they have this meeting today. May you just guide them and give them wisdom. And on this cold morning, we lift up our farming community. May you help them and give them patience with water and animals during this time. And lastly, Lord, we lift up the Ben Jacobson family and Ben Jacobson. We pray for law enforcement officials as they're able to find ways to help find this young man and bring him to safety. And Lord, we pray this in your name, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, item number 3, special matters and announcements.
I just have a couple. I want to express my thanks to Louis, and the employees want to express their thanks to the county board members for the gift cards that were given to them when we had our Martin Luther King Day. Mark's nodding. We couldn't get together, so we did all these trainings virtually. Talked to Louis, he authorized, we usually buy them all a lunch and we get here together. Louis said, get a gift card. I cannot tell you the number of employees that emailed me, thanked me, so I'm communicating back to this board. Little things mean a lot to the employees, and they were very, very thankful for that. Second thing to be aware of as a county board member, and this is just this is under a FYI radar. The Census Bureau over the weekend said that they are not going to get the census data to the states until September 30th. That's 59 days later than allowed by state statute. So something's going to change in state statute so that we know what district you're going to be in when you take out your papers in December 1st. So just be flexible. Rhonda's working on this. She'll do a great job. She's got this down, but we may need either a special board meeting, or we may have to actually have a board meeting on Wednesday, December 1st, in order to ratify the district. So this is just falling under, be aware. I also just be aware that the property committee voted that we're just allowing limited use of the government center up until the 1st of July, just to keep track of who's coming and going. And then when we get into the building project, just a couple things that this committee's talked about that I want to share that we've talked about is, as a county board member, you go out and you're out in the public, just please be cognizant as if you hear a vendor, start to chirp, direct them right back to Chad. We don't want you talking, I don't want to express we want you to direct them to the experts. Just because somebody says they can save us money, it may actually cost us money. Secondly, we're going to be setting up dates and times for county board members and personnel to walk that site. We're not just going to let this willy-nilly be on that site, because we don't want to see somebody get hurt, because I'm certain Mr. Serby does not want to have any conflicts with his people leaving in the morning and so on. So we'll set up times for that. So those are the issues that I got. Thanks.
Now I have one item, I guess, for the people online. Sometimes when I ask you to vote, it takes a little time. Why don't you raise your hand? To say all in favor, right? Raise your hand, you guys, and then if you're not in favor, maybe go like this, bring her down. So, okay, item number 4, approve the amended agenda. Now, on item number 9, zoning ordinance amendments, there's some controversy and discussion going to be had on item 9A. That's the rezoning of the town of Stanley with the Art Fitzgerald. So, I'd like to amend the agenda to basically separate that one out. So we'll have a 9A, and then we'll have 9B and C together, but there'll be separate votes for each one of those. So can I get a motion to approve the agenda as amended? Motion by Supervisor Johnson, seconded by Supervisor Rosenstein. Are there any problems with that? Not all those in favor of that amended agenda indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign? That motion's carried. Item number 5, approve the minutes of the January 11th, 2021 meeting. Motion by Supervisor Heineke, second by Supervisor Renzig. I got any concerns? Not all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign. That motion's carried. Item number 6, public comment. I have 3 of them. They're all relative to the 9A rezoning. Mrs. Patty David, now you have Carol Mullen, who is your supervisor. You requested that you could speak here and actually during the discussion of that rezoning.
Yes.
So would you rather do it? You can't do both. You're down here for public comment. So I've already authorized you to speak during the zoning. You can choose, do you want to speak now under public comment, or do you want to wait till we take that other matter up?
And then to wait till we
Okay. Okay, the next one is, when they call your name, would you step up to the mic? You have 3 minutes. State your name and address. James Fitzgerald.
Hi, I'm James Fitzgerald. The rezoning deal, if SS is planned to be a business corridor, I would think that you'd want businesses on it. But we're selling the 3 acres so I can have enough money to redo the bathroom so she can have a shower instead of a bathtub. She's not able to get in and out of the bathtub no more. That was the whole reason why we started the project of selling the land and doing just to get money for my mom. But I guess there's controversy on whether it should be a storage unit, and the township needs one. I don't see why it would be a problem, but being by the lake, and it's only 1.5 miles out of town, I would hope that it would go through. We gonna have it fenced in, and I've been cleaning up my yard, so there ain't a lot of stuff sitting around outside. But because it was getting a lot of stuff moved down there when my uncle lost his place next door. So I'm still working on that. By spring, it should be cleaned up all the way. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Okay, next person up is Max Gaylor.
Good morning, everybody. Cold morning. But I'm the developer that would like to build these storage spaces. I did the demographics for the area, and I checked 5 locations, and I felt there was a need for more storage. There was 1 unit available out of 5 locations of a 10 by 20. To the south of that property, 22nd Street is 1 street down. That is a storage place south of the location that I'm trying to develop. And I feel that it's somewhat of a business corridor there. The entrance for the property would be on SS, and not to interfere with the adjacent properties behind there. So that I would like to develop, I think it'd be a good tax base. It's a very low impact business. I feel it's more of a service business than an actual business. So there'd be a very low impact for the area. So I hope that you can concur with the zoning board to approve the project. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, item number 7, update on the COVID-19 vaccine rollout. Stacy's attending virtually. So you're up, Stace.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. Yeah, I want to give a little bit of an update on COVID and cases, what's happening in the county. Certainly, if you have any questions, feel free to ask along the way. I can only see those of you really that are on the screen. So if anybody else has questions in the room, if Jeff or Louis could help me out calling on those folks. So currently we have about 100 active cases in the county, which means that they have been diagnosed within the last 10 days. We have total of 5,245 cases since this started about a year ago. So we've got about 97% of our cases have recovered. So that's really, we're standing in a really good spot for cases. We have unfortunately had 72 deaths in the county, which is pretty high for our county related to one virus. A lot of those came from when there was an outbreak in our local nursing homes or assisted livings. that does account for a good majority of those 72 deaths that we have had. Right now, we are in the orange zone, which means we are still having an accelerated rate of spread. We have, though, for the last several months been in red. So the fact that we're now in orange is showing improvement. We currently have about 18 cases per 100,000 in the county. So again, we continue to decrease. If we can get down to 10 cases per 100,000, we'll move to the yellow zone, according to Harvard, which that is the containment zone. So we would feel like we are doing better as we go from red to orange to yellow to green. Most of the state is in the orange right now. There are no counties that fall within the red zone anymore. And again, they calculate this every day, so it can kind of change depending on how many cases pop up in a particular area on a particular day. But the state definitely is looking better right now. Wisconsin is number 42 in terms of the outbreak in the U.S. Barron County is number 21 for the 72 counties in the state. And so that means there are 20 counties that have higher outbreak rates than us. And then there are the remaining 50 counties approximately that have better outbreak rating than we are. But again, we had been running 2, 3, 4 in the state, so we are definitely optimistic and happy with the direction that we're going in. One of the things that we feel like we can attribute this to is the vaccination rollout. Now, our population, 46, 47, 48,000 people, we have vaccinated 4,600 people with at least one dose of the vaccine, and 1,500 that have had both doses or the complete series. We've primarily been getting the Pfizer, Moderna here at the public health, but within our county, we've been receiving both the Moderna and the Pfizer vaccine. Our healthcare systems obviously are vaccinating at a much higher rate than we are. Vaccine availability continues to be the issue, not just for Barron County, but for the entire state. 3 weeks ago and leading up to that, we were getting about 70,000 doses of vaccine in the county. Now, last week that was bumped up. The state is now getting 90,000 doses of vaccine for the entire state from the federal government. So even though a slight 20,000 dose bump, we still are going to obviously mean that we're going to be able to vaccinate more people. Johnson & Johnson has come out with their vaccine now that is only a 1-dose series. That went to the FDA, and the FDA is going to be reviewing that on February 26th. The very optimistic part about that is that it is only a 1-dose series, and so we should be able to vaccinate folks that want it at a much quicker pace than what we can now when it requires that 2-dose series. So we are optimistic and hope that that will be approved and, be able to get into the hands of the federal and state government as quickly as possible. A couple of things that have changed on the front of quarantine. When we started with the vaccine to begin with, the CDC had informed us that regardless if you have been vaccinated or not, you were still going to be required to quarantine because it had not yet been determined if you could continue to be a carrier and an asymptomatic spreader of COVID despite being vaccinated. The CDC did come out at the end of last week and indicated that if you have been fully vaccinated and more than 2 weeks have passed since your last vaccination dose, that even if you are a close contact with a positive case, you do not have to quarantine any longer, up to 90 days. And so I think that's good news. A lot of people were wondering, why would I even get vaccinated if I still have to quarantine? If I still have to mask and social distance and those types of things. You do still have to mask and social distance, even if you have gotten your full vaccine regimen. But in terms of quarantining, at this point, as long as you remain asymptomatic and aren't, feeling sick at all, you do not need to quarantine if you become a close contact of somebody who is a positive. So I feel like that is a step in the right direction. We have been doing at Public Health some small vaccination clinics. Right now, the populations who are eligible for the vaccine are, of course, all of our healthcare workers and folks over the age of 65. We have a large population of folks in the county who are over the age of 65. And so public health is not able to vaccinate all of those folks. And it's not even our intention to do that. Our intent is to support our large healthcare systems in the county to be able to vaccinate their consumers that they traditionally would serve. And then Barron County would kind of be that safety net for those folks who maybe don't have a primary care provider or for one reason or another can't otherwise get vaccinated at one of the 3 healthcare systems. We have talked about doing some mass vaccination clinics. We have agreements in place with Barron Electric and Mosaic out of Cameron to be able to do some drive-through vaccination clinics. Again, I don't mean to beat a dead horse here, but the real problem is getting our hands on vaccine. Last week, we had requested 500 doses of vaccine just for our public health department, and we were granted 150 doses. And so, we're just not getting anywhere near the level we are hoping to get, and neither are the healthcare systems. And so, until the production increases and the availability increases of the vaccines, we're going to have to just continue to work with what we've got. We have been told that the state of Wisconsin plans to open up our educators and our daycare providers and essential businesses on March 1st for vaccinations. We are going to continue to plan going down that road. And we also want to continue, though, to prioritize our most vulnerable. And so, again, those healthcare workers over 65, and then we'll be rolling in our educators and daycare providers and other essential workers within the county. So that's kind of the plan. That is opening the floodgates come March 1st, because that really that group entails a lot of people in the county. And so we expect that the demand will continue to increase exponentially as these other groups are opened up for availability to receive the vaccine. Are there any questions in the room, comments, clarifications you're interested in?
Casey, I don't see any, nobody's raised their hand online or here present, so I guess you got a great job presenting.
I guess I must have.
Well, thank you very much. Your department is doing an excellent job, and it's not an easy job. Because not everybody feels the same about the COVID-19, and glad you're doing what you're doing. So thanks very much.
Yep. Thank you, and have a good day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Okay, item number 8, the Highway Facility Steering Committee recommendations for the bid package number 1.
I would move that we accept the recommendations that were done by the Highway Building Committee.
Supervisor Olson and seconded by Supervisor Gores. Okay, who's gonna do the talking? Chad?
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
So on Thursday, we took bid packs for the precast masonry, structural steel and roofing, and the pre-engineered building. As you can see on the display boards, precast, upcut below, we recommend awarding for the $3 million.
It's not gonna fit in there.
Have to hear me?
Yeah. Now they'll be able to hear you online.
All right. Bid pack 1, or bid pack 3C, we call, that would be the precast superstructure of the building. Hufka was who we recommended as the low bid, at $3,508,000. The bid pack for masonry went to Berghammer Builders for $255,900. They also had accepted alternate 1, which is a little bit of masonry in the bottom of the diamond pit. Bid pack 5A and 5B, structural steel and miscellaneous metals, will be awarded to Carey Specialized Services for $3 million. Roofing 7A by Charowski and Son for $1.2,044,000. Bid pack 3 was pre-engineered metal building for Berghammer Builders at $1,456,629 for a total package for bid set 1 at $9,464,529. And this is your superstructure. This is your whole building for the precast main facility, the wash bays, and the 2 unheated storage buildings. So this is the actual superstructure of the building for this dollar amount. Next week, we will be accepting bids on the Tuesday for the remaining bid packages, your electrical, mechanical, plumbing, carpentry packages, earthwork, and concrete. There's about 16 bid packages left to accept on Tuesday. Tap into the renderings. We're gonna pull up a few of the renderings of what we are proposing your building to look like, so you get an idea of what the precast is gonna have an idea here. As you can see on the precast, we have a heavy sand blasted area on the bottom, approximately 3 feet. And then we go to a light sandblast up to the middle band just above the windows. And above the windows, after the 12-inch band, we go to a light sandblast again. And then we go to a heavy sandblast, or heavier sandblast at the top, 3 feet. There is right next to the entrance of the building, we do have the Barren emblem cast into the precast. So it's definitely not a problem knowing where you're at or what the building's for. And as you can see up on the top, there is stainless steel letters that will be sticking off the building about 2 inches, and they're about approximately 16 inches tall. That says Barron County Highway Department. This will be facing towards Highway 25. Here's a head-on shot. It gives you a little bit better idea of the Barron County emblem. That'll be actually, we're ordering a form that will be cast right into the precast for this portion. Next. Another view of the admin area towards the parking lot facing southwest. A little bit larger view, you can see the vehicle storage and the dump truck on the far left side of the page. That goes into the heated vehicle storage. You have 2 large overhead doors entering in that area. And then you can see on the right side of the page, you can see where the shop is and the maintenance bays along the south side there. Just another view of the parking lot. This is a view of the break room and looking south. The break room also has some full height windows on that portion to allow natural light into the break room. And that's about it. Any questions?
We'll minimize it, Jody, so that if I can see if anybody online has a Supervisor Straley, you got a question?
Well, okay, when is a superstructure going to be right here?
We'll start the superstructure. We're looking to start construction April 15th with demo and digging of footings and grade on the west side of the site.
The bid packages that we're looking to award today are basically material packages that we need to get going on the fabrication of because they're long timeline pieces. So we get this stuff ordered, and then the next week we bid the concrete and stuff that's below the ground for the footings and floors and stuff. But we need to get this stuff ordered ahead of time in order to keep our timeline.
right now precast is out about 12 weeks is what they're, 10 to 12 weeks. So between precast, masonry, masonary's not so bad, but the structural steel right now is pretty volatile. So we want to get that on order, get shop drawings going as soon as possible. So upon your approval today, we will go back to the office and sit down with Carrie and get the shop drawings rolling and get a letter of intent out to Carrie and Huffcutt.
How much the competition was around the big packages?
We took 18 bids on 5 bid packs on last Thursday. We had a very good turnout.
Any further questions? Anybody online have any questions? See, Bun, you showed up, huh? Good man. All right, like Chad, you must have done a great job again. There's not many questions, so thank you. Keep up
Thank you,
the work.
everyone.
I know the Highway Steering Committee is doing a great job with working with the CBS Squared and our highway department, so it's good news. Okay, item number 9A. Oh, yeah, go. Did too good a job. And I'm gonna go roll call vote just because I want to document how everybody feels about the highway project, just so we keep going forward that way. So, yes,
Gary Nelson.
Yes.
Roberta Mosentein. Yes. Pete Olson.
yes.
Keith Johnson.
Yes.
Carol Moen. Yeah, with a thumbs up.
Carol?
Got a thumbs up?
I don't see
As you don't see her.
Can't see her.
Carol, is that yourself?
Yes or no?
You just say something?
One, you need to mute your.
Maybe we'll come back to Carol.
Vaughn, you need to mute your microphone, please.
Before we go to
So we haven't heard from Carol.
Eric Panger.
Carrie?
Yes,
Thumbs up.
yes,
Yes.
Russ Renzick.
Yes.
Tony Ehrlich.
Yes.
Barry McRoberts.
Yes.
Mark Thompson is absent. Ron Hanson.
Yes.
Stacy Wenzel. Yes. Jamie Heller.
Yes.
Ray Anderson.
Yes.
Dan Buchanan.
Yes.
Ron Moore. Still absent. Bill Efforts.
Yeah.
Bert Skinner.
Yes.
Dale Heineke.
Yes.
Bob Rogers.
Yes.
Oscar Scope.
yes,
John Banks.
Yes.
Terry Lee.
yes,
Carolyn Bartlett. Yes. Pam Fall.
Yes.
Bill Strado.
Yes.
Terry Textall.
yes,
Jim Gores.
Yes.
Get back to Carol Moen.
She's up.
Yes.
Okay. Very good. So we have 27 yes and 2 absent.
Thank you, everybody. That motion carries. Okay, now on to item number 9A, which is rezoning in the town of Stanley. Ernest Fitzgerald and Patty Davis Green was requested by her supervisor Carol Moen to be able to speak during the time. So Patty, you've got 3 minutes. Just state your name and your address.
My name is Patty Davis Green. I reside at 1229 21st Street in Cameron. My mom is the legal property owner, Patricia Henning. And I'm here representing a bunch of the landowners in the community. We put together a statement of opposition to this. And so everyone we can get in contact in the short term. And I'd like to read to you what these are. At the December 2nd, 2020 zoning committee meeting, there were several neighboring properties that voiced their opposition to the rezoning. And when there was no motion in favor of the rezoning, most of us left the meeting believing the proposal was denied. But then, as you know, on the January 11th meeting, we remanded that back to the zoning committee to take action and stated that there would be no public notice and there would be no public statements taken at that time regarding the reconsideration, but that the testimony received at the December meeting would be taken into consideration. We do not feel that the zoning committee took those testimonies into consideration because there are several oppositions, and that it passed with just a vote of 3-2 So we'll, let's see, I'm sorry. Let's see, okay. In addition, we oppose this rezoning in general for the following reasons. The first thing is that this is definitely spot zoning to the extreme. With the legal definition, as you know, that spot zoning is a zoning ordinance and an amendment to a zone, a relatively small area, that is significantly different from those in the surrounding neighborhood for the benefit of the property owner and not pertaining to the comprehensive plan of the land. The spot zoning law is not illegal, due to the consideration of the whole community, and that's solely the benefit of the property owner requesting the rezoning. In this case, the benefit of the contractor who's buying the property from Ms. Fitzgerald, Max Miller, who's not a resident in Barron County, and he resides in Chippewa Falls. The property surrounding the proposed rezoning plot is Egg 1, Egg 2, and residential recreational. There currently are 3 storage facilities within 2 miles of this property, which actually is the closest business property to this community. There's not another business zoned property any closer than that. And there are 8 storage facilities within 5 miles of this property, and 16 storage facilities within 7 miles. My mother, who's 81, made phone calls to several of these storage facilities, and they did have space available. So that was as of this weekend. So.
Hey, sorry, 3 minutes is up.
You may have the rest of it that they all signed that.
Okay. And
And was all the property owners that we contacted, were opposed to it, and there was not one that was in favor of it.
thank you very much, and thanks for the recap, so I didn't have to tell everybody about what happened in December and in our last board meeting.
Okay.
Yes, if you could hand that in to our clerk, I'd appreciate it, unless that for. Okay, could I get a motion on the floor to pass this, and then we'll vote, we'll have some discussion, and then vote on it after that. Motion by Supervisor Gerland, second by Supervisor Heineke to pass that rezoning on number 9A in the town of Stanley. Okay, now, I'm sure some people like to talk, and I'm sure Supervisor Rogers, would you like to say a few things?
I would like to do that, yes. Can I be heard?
Bob?
Well, my mic is on. Can I be heard?
Still can't hear you, Bob.
You guys here.
Let me.
How about now?
Say it again.
Can I be heard now?
Oh, there it is.
Hello? Hello?
This is
Are we
I
good?
can hear you online.
zoning that we're in opposition with Supervisor Johnson and Supervisor Rogers.
Can I be heard?
Now you can.
Yes.
I'm just gonna say that the two in opposition were you and Steve, and you're certainly well qualified. You being an assistant court counsel in the past, and Steve is a surveyor. They were the two oppositions, and mostly because it's called zoning. Go ahead, Bob.
Mr. Chairman, you can hear me?
Yes, yeah, we can.
Good. Okay. As said, I am speaking in opposition to this zoning amendment. 2 reasons: spot zoning, and that's been addressed quite a lot, and also we need to follow the Barron County zoning plan. As to the spot zoning first, as said, that's rezoning a relatively small area for uses significantly different from those allowed in the surrounding area to favor the owner of a particular piece of property. It's not necessarily illegal under Wisconsin law, but to be acceptable, the rezoning should be consistent with long-range planning and based upon considerations which affect the whole community. Therefore, spot zoning should only be indulged in where it is in the public interest and not solely for the benefit of the property owner requesting the rezoning. And it's important to determine whether the failure to rezone would in effect confiscate the owner of his property by depriving him of all beneficial use. You've got to consider the nature and the character of the parcel, the use of the surrounding land, and the overall zoning plan. Now here, as stated, we're looking at 3 acres of land currently zoned agricultural. That seems to be an appropriate zoning because those 3 acres have been used for raising corn and beans virtually every year. I drive by that property multiple times a week, and I can remember just one year in the past 10 to 15 years or more when the land was fallow and not used for crops. All the other years, crops were being grown. Now, surrounding this parcel, the zoning classifications are either agricultural, a lot of crops being grown, or recreational residential, and there are single-family residences immediately to the east of this parcel. Crops are being raised, single-family residence. Now, would the rezoning only benefit the property owner? Pretty much, yes. It would provide him with a quick purchaser for the land so that some improvements can be made to the bathroom in the house on the property. It would provide him with a quick purchaser, as I said, someone who intends to put storage units on the land, and perhaps was mentioned earlier in one of the zoning meetings, the first one, a shrink wrap business. Does the public need that? No, it's been said there are multiple storage units located very close to this particular parcel. If we fail to rezone, would we be depriving the owner of the use of this property? Well, of course not. It's been used for years for the growing of crops. Now let's look a little bit at the Barron County zoning ordinance. Ag 1 district, section 17.28 says, due to the importance of agriculture within the local and regional economy, it's necessary to encourage farmland preservation, protect natural resources, and minimize conflicts between farm and non-farmland uses. Preservation of the land is important, and I don't care whether it's 3 acres or 1,000 acres. Farmland is very important in Barron County. Moving on to section 1781, the ordinance addresses rezoning standards in specifically the Ag 1 district. It says that a petition for rezoning on Ag 1 district may be approved only if it's determined that the land is better suited for a use not allowed in the Ag 1 district, that the rezoning is consistent with any applicable comprehensive plan in the county, the rezoning is substantially consistent with the county certified farmland preservation plan, and the rezoning will not substantially limit current or future use, ag use of the surrounding areas. The fact is, this parcel is good ag land, has been used as such, and it's consistent with Barron County's ag plan. About all that can be said is that changing this to business wouldn't necessarily impair the use of the surrounding ag land. Looking again, 17.81 of the Barron County zoning ordinance. Consider this. Our zoning ordinance says this about rezoning a property to business. Quote, a petition to designate a property as business use may be approved only if a rural location is required because of such factors such as access to transportation facilities, the need for large land area, and such needs can't be met in alternative urban locations already zoned as business. Now, surely there are 3 acres of land somewhere within the county currently zoned a business or adjacent to a business area, which could accommodate a storage facility. And let's not forget, this is a business district we're talking about. Section 1738 covers business district and says most commercial uses should be located in the urban communities where a full range of services can be afforded for such uses. And once it's rezoned to business, The door is open to God knows what, gas stations, taverns, fuel dealerships, retail stores, shops, commercial entertainment facilities. The list goes on. And no further approvals are needed to develop these uses on this 3 acres. So how did it get out of the zoning committee with a 3-2 vote that permits the rezoning? That one's on me. As chair of the committee, I didn't do a thorough enough job stating the spot zoning problems or emphasizing our ordinance on preservation of agriculture and limitations on business uses. So it's improper spot zoning benefiting only the owner, not the general public. Leaving the zoning as is does not deprive the owner of the use of the property. Preservation of agriculture, regardless of the size of the parcel, is a goal under our zoning ordinance, and locating commercial uses within urban areas is important. In my opinion, this rezoning should not be approved.
Thank you, Supervisor Rogers. Somebody else like to speak? Supervisor Gurley.
Supervisor Rogers is very heartfelt about this. And as he said, he didn't bring up his spot zoning stuff stressfully enough when he first brought it up. But I'd like to point out a couple of things. He said it would only benefit the person who's purchasing the property, but the county would benefit from the increased tax that they'll bring in from business being there. He said that it's only good agriculture land. And I'd like to point out that it's triangular in shape. It comes to a point between 21st and Highway SS, which used to be Highway 53, a Class AA highway. The very next point I'm going to put on it out there is he said that there's no business in that area. And although Scenic Synergy is not a business, it is up the road a very short distance, and they have all kinds of business going on there. It's labeled as agriculture, but they're not doing any farming there. They don't have any animals there. It's a business there. Its closest neighbor across the street is a railroad track, which has no opposition to whether you're having a business there or not. So there is industry and business in that stretch. The township is not opposed to this. The county highway approved the driveway off of Highway SS, is my understanding. The county's going to get an income from the taxes from this property, quite a bit more than an Ag 1 is for that spot. It is needed. I didn't do a call this weekend to local places for storage, but I did the previous weekend, and I was only able to find 2 storage facilities available that were 10 by 25 in a 5-mile radius of this area. It's actually a good location for these units with all that residential and recreational property around the lake and people needing a place to store things. So yes, it gives the opportunity to the seller of the property a chance to have some money to make some changes to his house for his mother. But the county's going to benefit, not just the seller of the property. Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak?
I just got a question, what do you call them, how many units are we talking?
150.
How many?
150.
Max, how many units?
4 units, 2-story size with a fence around it,
150 units.
150 units.
It's not 150 units.
That's what was.
Can you tell me how many?
The first phase is gonna be 60 units. The maximum, depending on the water runoff, or we have to do with the DNR, top end of it is between 100 and 120 units. If we do phase 2.
Thank you. I will point out, because the full board is gonna make a decision on this, that in the information you had, there was a stipulation the town is not opposed. But I would like to say what the town said. The town board's comments. Driveway must be located on County SS west side so as to not impact the residents on 21st Street. Location must be enclosed by a fence. The site is not practical for ag production due to the size and shape. So that was the town's comments. Somebody else like to comment on the zoning? Okay, thank you. If not, we've got a motion to approve this and a second. I'm gonna do a roll call vote. And if you vote yes, that means this property will be rezoned from current ag 1 to business district, which will allow the storage sheds to be built on. So again, if you vote yes, you're voting that this rezoning will be approved. If you vote no, it will be denied. So, yeah.
Roberta Mosentein,
Yes.
Pete Olson,
Yeah.
Steve Johnson,
No.
Carol Moen,
Yes.
Eric Tanya,
Yes.
Lou Yoki,
Yes.
Russ Renzick,
Yes.
Todd Gerlin,
Yes.
Gary McRoberts,
Yes.
Mark Thompson, absent. Von Hansen,
Yes.
Stacy Wenzel. Yes. Dana Heller,
Yes.
Bob Anderson.
Yes.
Stan Buchanan,
Yes.
Don Horstman, absent. Bill Efforts,
Yes.
Bert Skinner,
No.
Dale Heineke,
Yes.
Bob Rogers,
No.
Oscar Scope,
No.
John Banks,
No.
Terry Lee,
No.
Carolyn Bartlett. Yes. Pam Fall,
Yes.
Bill Schradel,
Yes.
Gary Taxell,
Yes.
Jim Gorst,
Yes.
Gary Nelson.
Yes.
All right, so, drum roll. There are 20 yes votes and 8 no votes. The 8 are including the 2 that are absent. So 6 no and 2 absent, depending how you want to break it.
21 yes.
Okay, it's not showing that.
I counted 21 yes, and then 5 no and 2 absent, which they mean no. So,
Okay, I'll figure my spreadsheet out.
okay. So it's 21 yes and 8 no. So that motion carries and rezoning was passed. Thank you. Item number 9, B and C, rezoning to the town of Clinton and the town of Maple Plain. So you get a motion to approve those. Anybody want to make a motion to approve Supervisor Gore, second by Supervisor Heller, to approve zonings 9B and 9C? Any discussion on those? Not all those in favor of passing those rezonings indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign? That motion's carried. I did. I was watching. Okay, item number 10, approve the 2021 emergency fire warden organization list.
So moved.
So moved by Supervisor Hanson, seconded by Supervisor Trail. Any discussion on that? Not all those in favor of passing that organization list for the fire warden, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Okay, yep, so that motion carried. Okay, item number 11, resolution to authorize approving a settlement agreement between the Great American Insurance Company and Barron County. Can I get a motion to approve that? Motion by Supervisor Anderson, seconded by Supervisor Skinner. You want to address that, John?
Sure. This is. Everybody hear me? Okay.
Yep.
This is one of the frac sand mines that had gone into a receivership, so basically a bankruptcy type of situation. They were hoping to continue operations, but that didn't work out. They ended up having to shut down. We They had a bond for the reclamation. They were not able to engage in the reclamation. We put a claim against the bond with the insurance company that was holding it. Been working with the insurance company, the folks in land services, Dave Gifford and Bronson Gallagher have done a great job putting together a bid, put out for bids. Got a contractor, they've actually been out there, I think they've stopped work now, they've been out there the last month doing an incredible amount of dirt work. The long and short of it is that we want to reach an agreement with the insurance company. Once this is approved, they will deposit the $830,000 into the county's bank account, and then we'll be responsible for auditing and paying the invoices out of there. So we're in a pretty good place, and we just needed to have this formally approved by the board. So if there's any questions, I can answer those.
Under that settlement agreement, there's no chance it's got contracts for 830,000 or less.
We've got contracts for the main contractor for just under 800,000, and he's also bonded as well. So if something happens with that, we would have another performance bond to go after. So we've got some contingency built in, and very comfortable with where we're at.
And if we get 830 deposited and it costs 800, what happens to 30?
That's going to go into probably into back to the general fund, or else into a segregated fund for any other future type reclamation or bonding type issues.
So the 830 is ours.
Yes.
Is there any Supervisor Straight?
Well, so, we have a private contractor out there doing the work, is that it?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions? Anybody?
Is there a deductible on the bond at all?
Say that again.
A deductible on the bond? I know in Rice Lake when we had a problem over there, I think out of the 300,000, I think it was only 150 were actually left.
No, this is the total amount. This includes some administrative fee that we're able to assess. So the costs that were related to what the county's time has been put into it, we've calculated all that and included that into the amount. And so no, we would get the entire 830.
That's good.
Any further questions by anybody? Okay, if not, all those in favor of approving this settlement agreement between the Great American Insurance Company and Barron County indicate by saying yes.
Yes. Yes.
Opposed, say no. It's approved. Thanks, John. Okay, item number 12. This will take a 2/3 vote. Resolution authorizing the sale of the parcels of land in the village of Turtle Lake. Numbers are listed on the agenda. Can I get a motion to approve that resolution? Motion by Supervisor Heineke, seconded by Supervisor Heller. Is there any discussions relative to that? Supervisor Johnson?
Tax deed land?
Yes, this is some tax deed land that was taken in the village of Turtle Lake. We've had it for a number of years because there was some contamination on it that was being cleaned up. The DNR has given us a closing letter so that we're finally able to sell this. And the total amount that we're going to be receiving is $110,000. We do have some money in it as far as demolition of buildings that were there and some of the cleanup costs, but this would just be in there. We've got a offer to purchase, and they need, as part of the title closing documents, they needed an authorization from the county board by resolution to have Deanne sign those documents.
Supervisor Straight?
Well, I'm not sure what it was titled, but it used to be, is this the one with the Chuck Hodge, would you sell trailers and all that type of stuff? Okay, so the DNR is finally approved, go ahead and be eligible for sale, I think. Okay, thank you.
Retail, you probably can't say who.
It's Dollar General.
We do, so we do have a purchaser.
Yeah.
Louis, that one correction, I see a typo on line 17. Second line, or at the end of the sentence, it says, and has the authority. It should say the authority to enter into So we had enter into the sale, just to clean that up.
Which?
Line 17.
Who made the motion and second for that? Dale and Dane, are you guys okay with that change?
As amended.
Okay, since we need a 2/3 vote, which means we need 20 people, first I'm gonna ask anybody that's against the sale, say no. Raise your hand. Okay, well, your resolution, I said 2/3 of it.
I think that was the last one.
Oh, that's 2/3 on the resolution.
We thought it was because we'd be amending the budget, but this is amending the budget positive.
Okay. All right, so, remember I said, everybody that's in favor of this resolution to sell this property, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign? That motion's carried. Thank you. Okay, item number 13, resolution in support of increased county child support funding. Is that you, John, again?
I get to talk a lot today. This is just a resolution that the Wisconsin Child Support Enforcement Association is asking for all counties to pass, asking the legislature to increase the funding for child support. There was a big interpretation change at the federal level, which cut funding to all child support agencies. So what we're asking for is a $4 million GPR in each of the fiscal years. That allows the county to claim 66% match from the federal government. So it would raise an additional 7.7 on top of that each year. And so it's just a resolution to support that increased funding.
Can I get a motion to approve that? Motion by Supervisor Mosenstein, seconded by Supervisor Olson. Okay. Any further discussion?
I'm confused a little bit here about, okay, now there's $4 million. How is this, what's our responsibility on it?
What happens is that if that money was increased and put into the state GPR, then it would be granted to the State Bureau of Child Support. So they would get $4 million, but they would allocate that between different counties throughout the state. And then the counties put that in their budget and were able to draw down $2 for every dollar from the federal government. So that it just goes to fund the child support program in all the counties in the state.
Any further discussion or questions? Not all those in favor of that resolution indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign? That motion's carried. Okay, item number 14, resolution authorizing the grant application for transitional housing, community development block grant, and the COVID-19-CV fund. Motion by Supervisor Skinner, seconded by Supervisor Renzing. Is that the one we talked about? Yeah, I think we talked about it last time. Was that exact?
So he's talking about an exact, this is
You want to explain the dollar amount increase?
correct. The dollar amount of this grant increased by $200,000 because Salvation Army is gonna put in $200,000 of their own money. What we're talking about is rehabilitating the old Barron County Nursing Home on Highway Double T to turn it into a transitional living facility that will be operated by Salvation Army. Dewana from Salvation Army is here. I do know that Benjamin House, I talked to them on Friday, they are supportive. There were maybe some issues there, but remember, this was approved by the county board to go out and do the pre-application in December for Dave Armstrong. He's done that. You see all the grant documents. There's a lot to jump through, but I know the sheriff is supportive, and I know Stacy is very supportive. And I guess we've got people even volunteering to help these people get jobs and drive them around. So I think this would be a real plus for our county if we get this money. Any questions for myself or Dewana?
I know Jeff and Salvation Army and Dave put a lot of time in there. They made to jump through a lot of hoops on this application, but they did a lot of work with it. And I think, like Jeff said, it's gonna benefit the county if we get that thing approved. And they asked us they gave us the nod to put the application in, so it gives you a little bit of a leg up. Any further discussion? Not all those in favor of passing that resolution to authorizing the grant application for additional housing for $746,000, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign? That motion's carried. Item number 15, this one we need 2/3, John?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, the resolution authorizing a $30,000 transfer from the 2021 contingency fund for the Highway Safety Improvement Program intersection control evaluation for County O and Decker Drive. I get a motion to pass it. Motion by Supervisor Efforts, seconded by Supervisor Barron. Is that it? Are you taking that, Mark?
Sure.
Yeah.
Good morning. So I think everybody is familiar with the Decker Drive intersection, which is by Menards and Applebee's, Highway O, Link Ford, the quick trip there. That intersection does not function very well. If you've been through there, you've seen close calls, you've seen people coming from Menards at the median with their truck and the trailer sticking all the way across both lanes of traffic. There's been a number of accidents there and lots of close calls. We did a safety study several years ago that was identified as one of our primary intersections. The city of Rice Lake approached us a couple of years ago about going together to do a study, and for some budgetary reasons right now, they don't have the matching funds to do the study. So we're asking to move forward with the study for $30,000. The study would develop an alternative that we would then use to apply for the Highway Safety Improvement Funds program with the DOT for the improvement of that intersection. That's the HSIP program. That's a 90-10 program, so it's 90% state and 10% local. But the first step of it, in order to apply for those funds, we have to do this study and come up with a preferred alternative and about a 30% preliminary design, which would generate the budget number, and then we'd use the budget number to apply for the Highway Safety Improvement Funds. So.
Any questions of our highway commissioner?
What would be the split on the local funding? Is Rice Lake involved in that with the county, or?
At this time, the county is going to pay for the study. This motion would be for the county to pay for the study, and then we're going to continue negotiations with the city when for the actual construction.
If that happens.
If that happens, and we're not committing that the city's going to be there. We certainly want them to be there because it's their side road that's creating issues with our highway, if you will. But if we were to split, for example, you're talking maybe 5 and 5 split of the 10%, so 50-50 of the 10%. And we don't know. I cannot, in good conscience, tell you this is what a construction project's going to cost there because we haven't done the study. That's what this does. We'll pick our alternatives here. We don't know what that alternative will be. Will it be a lighted intersection? Is it right turn, right out? Is it a roundabout? All of that. That's what this study would determine, and then we would go forward with the alternative to request the funding.
Any further questions, Supervisor Anderson?
I just wanted to give a comment. I've been on a lot of accidents at that intersection. It's 45 miles an hour right there. People coming off from the freeway are still, you're still thinking about going that fast. When we have accidents there, we're cutting people out of cars. That's important at that intersection.
That's kind of, I think, why the highway department decided to go ahead with it on our own because of all that, even though we were hoping City of Rice Lake would be part of it. Any further questions? Not all those in favor of that resolution of transferring the $30,000 for the study? Yeah. Well, I'm going to go this way, and maybe I'll say get asked for the note. You want me to go roll call? Okay, we'll go roll call.
Steve Olson,
Yes.
Steve Johnson,
Yes.
Carol Moen,
Yes.
Eric Panier,
Yes.
Louis Oki,
Yes.
Russ Rinzig, Todd Gerlin,
Yes.
Gary McRoberts,
Yes.
Eric Thompson is absent. Bud Hanson,
Yes.
Stacy Wenzel. Yes. Dana Heller,
Yes.
Bob Anderson,
Yes.
Tim Buchanan.
Yes.
Don Horstman is absent. Bill Everett,
Yes.
Bert Skinner,
Yes.
Bill Heineke,
Yes.
Bob Rogers,
Yes.
Oscar Scope,
Yes.
Don Bank,
Yes.
Harry Lee,
Yes.
Carolyn Bartlett.
Yes.
Pam Falk,
Yes.
Bill Stradle,
Yes.
Gary Taxtell,
Yes.
Jim Gores,
Yes.
Gary Nelson,
Yes.
Roberta Mosenteam.
Yes.
Okay, so all 27 present, yes, are yes, and there's 2 absent.
That motion passed.
Say, Dan, one question, whose district is this in?
Line,
That's in your
District 18,
Okay, all right, I was just curious where the lines were out there.
gerrymandered there where it cuts under the bridge and intakes Walmart.
Okay. All right, and across the road would be, Stan Buchanan, right? From the Walmart.
Yes.
Okay. Item number 16, resolution to authorize motorized trail authorization for the years 2021 and 2022. Indicated in the past, we didn't have to do the resolution, but the DNR wants us to do that now, so I need a motion to approve that resolution. Motion by Supervisor Renzig, second by Supervisor Trail. Is there any discussion on that? Not all those in favor of passing that resolution indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign? That motion's carried. Item number 17, Jeff Sutton.
Good morning. Okay, this is on. Good morning. I will do my Green Book presentation here in just a minute, but let me just tell you what item 17B, Discover Wisconsin Winter Media Production. The Executive Committee approved a $5,000 transfer from our 2021 contingency fund, and the Economic Development Committee voted to take $5,000 out of their funds and to work with Discover Wisconsin in order to create a winter venue for what's going on here in Barron County. So I believe they're going to start after today, is why I understand it. So Dave Armstrong and Brandy will be working on that. Item 17C, a policy change to payout of accrued vacation and sick leave. We will be presenting a resolution next month asking the county board to authorize so that employees that are WRS eligible, Wisconsin Retirement System eligible, age 55 or over, they can convert their accrued vacation and sick leave into a tax preferred account, either putting it into a 401A retirement or an HRA account. That will save the employees 7.65% on the Social Security, plus it saves them on federal and state tax if they put it into their health retirement account. Other counties are doing it. It's a very big benefit to our employees. Item 17D, I included with the packet the timeline and the job description for the assistant to the county administrator. I've already been asked, I want to explain, there's no salary attached to this. The person will be an internal candidate who will do their job plus take on projects and be paid according to the projects that they take on. Item 17E, we have had a 2-day blood donation here at the county. It was very successful. The Red Cross I approached them. I said, how is it going? They were very, very thankful to have 2 days in one location. The executive committee authorized employees to have up to 3 hours a year, three separate times per year to go to give blood. You do this online, so it's very efficient. I just wish that I could express the emotion that they gave to me, how much they like our building, they like the location, and they like the 2 days because they said it doesn't wear out our staff setting up and tearing down. So good job. I think this is a really good thing. In item 17F, you have the annual dog license fees that Jess has put together. If you have any questions, let us know. Item 17G, this is really interesting. Our 2020 COVID leave program usage. I put that update. You can see that county, in my opinion, county employees did not abuse the federal mandates in any way. They just used what they could as allowed, and I'm very happy with that. Item 17H, when these plans are approved by the state of Wisconsin for the upgrades to this auditorium, we'll talk about trying to get 14 of you to consider being online
And we're thinking, we're working with Lance, we're gonna hold these county board meetings in room 110. If we can get 15 people in person and 14 online, that's what we do, that's what we think would fit. If you get the public and other people there, we'll have the camera, we'll have the YouTube for the people that watch on YouTube. You'll be able to attend and watch that. Finally, there are more to come on this. The plans for this have been already pushed back a minimum of 6 weeks. The state of Wisconsin already basically told us, don't expect your plans to come through until after April 1st. So we're already behind on that project. It's a little discouraging. Item 17I is our per diem report, which we just put in there for your review. We have 84 citizens, we have 29 county board members and about 55 citizen members for 83,000 for total on 31 standing committees. I don't think that's too bad for running the county when we look at the number of people. We're gonna do the green book. This is something that we've been talking about, and I've been giving this to a number of, let me turn on this one. This is from Forward Analytics, and this compares with all 72 counties. So if you can go on to that first one. So, go ahead and go all the way to the top, Jody. If you can go, okay, well, we'll just go with this. This is, of course, my pointer's not gonna work. This is the population of Barron County. And you can see that we have, surprisingly, one of the older populations in Northwest Wisconsin. So when you look at the fact of where we're at here, you can see that Barron, we are right up there. You can see Sawyer, Washburn, Burnett, and Rusk are all older than we are. So very interesting. So that leads to some things we'll talk about in a minute. The fact that, can't do it, I gotta breathe. The fact that, we do spend a bit more on health and human services as a percentage of expenditures, and that's because we have an aging population and we have a very active aging ADRC group that goes out and actually draws down dollars. I mean, if there's money sitting at the state level, they go out and they get it and they spend it. Helps our Meals on Wheels, things like that. Let's go on to health and human services. Great, this is health and human services expenditure per capita. You can see where we're at here. We're at $351, so we're above average. However, reference the graph, the document one before. We have an older population. I would assume the county board would want staff to go out and get these unspent dollars and spend them in Barron County. So yes, for a health and human service perspective, we do. But this also looks at veterans, aging, ADRC, and health and human services. Population, not surprising. We are lower in population, people aged 5 to 19. Dave Armstrong has talked to this group. Well, yeah, one of the number one things we export is people basically ages 19 to 55. They leave, then they come back and they retire here. Let's go on. This is interesting. Percent of population would have an associate degree. You can see that Barron County is a bit lower than the rest. Okay, but this is an interesting. We're below on education, but we're going to be above average of our surrounding counties in income level. That's a little different. And I think it's interesting when we have a 2-year campus, we have WITC and Barron County campus, it's a little interesting. So you can see that obviously St. Croix County would have the highest, and then it's done. You can see that. You've got River Falls and UW Stout, plus you have a number of people that are living in St. Croix County that are migrating into the cities. All right, let's go to this one. This I love to talk about. Look at this. We buck the trend, actually having 1% of our people net commute in to our county to work. Compare us with St. Croix, which isn't surprising. They're down. They have 25% of their population leaves the county to work. This is an interesting statistic because it goes to the next one, sales tax per capita. If you were to look at sales tax per capita, you would go, well, wait a minute, sales tax. But understand, we have people coming here to work. And what this tells me is they're coming here to work and then they're staying here to shop. That's what this tells us.
Also, look at our neighbor to the north, Sawyer County. I think we can attribute that to the population in the summer. So when you look at this, really, I keep talking about this, sales tax starts more and more and more to drive our county budget. It's now, if we didn't have our sales tax, property taxes would be approximately 25% higher. It's a big draw. This sales tax is a big thing now in the county. So, yeah, it's bigger and bigger. It is, right. And expense per capita. So if we can slide over to the actual numbers, Jody, if you would slide up. So our expense per capita, when you look at expense per capita in every area, the average, the median, and our surrounding counties, our expenditures per capita are less. I think that has to do with sales tax. We collect a lot of sales tax. And we have a lot of net in commuting. Okay, property tax levy per capita. All right, this does not look so good. Okay, we're outside of the norm with the state, but around our surrounding counties, our tax per capita is quite a little bit less. Our mill rate is next. Slide down. Our mill rate is a bit higher. Concerning. Look at the next graph, however. Look at our equalized value per capita. Just slide over to the numbers. Look at us compared to our surrounding counties. Look at Sawyer, though. This is the average. This is the equalized valuation of a home per capita by county. Look at how much the counties to the north are higher than ours. Probably says a lot about lake homes. Okay, that's an interesting thing. That takes a little bit to kind of noodle on when you look at that. Highway expense per capita, before you even go there, we're going to be much lower than the state average because we have a full service highway department. And so therefore we're not as reliant on state and federal aids in the property tax levy. That's what proves this. It's a very, very interesting graph. So you can see in all areas there. Now let's go to highway miles. We're not out of the norm when it really comes to highway miles. We actually have 6% more than the average, 6% more than the median. We have a little bit less than our surrounding counties. However, you've got Dunn and St. Croix and Chippewa. And Chippewa picked up, just in the last, picked up a number of lane miles. So that's why I can explain what's going on there. So that's an interesting one. State aids per capita. Slide down, Jody. Yeah. Our state aids per capita are below our surrounding counties. We're a bit high above the state average, but we're below our surrounding counties. This one is very interesting. General obligation debt. If you can slide over to the numbers, yeah. This does not surprise me, and this is what Jody and I were on with Standard & Poor's. We explained this to them because they picked up on this, and I said, you know what? That's because our county board doesn't borrow money. We are way below the state in every category as far as borrowing money and being in debt. This is one where we go, good job, pat ourselves on the back. Per capita personal income, this is interesting because when we compare it with the education, you can see that our surrounding counties were doing very well without the education. That's an interesting dynamic. I can't really explain that. So anyway, Jody, let's go to the sales tax one. I think we've really covered a lot here. Let's go to that one right there. Yep. So I like to show this. This is sales tax collections from 1986 on. Isn't that amazing? So if you can slide up to the top, Jody, I've got some, are my notes on the top that we can see? Okay, well anyway, just so you know, on average, our sales tax goes up about, I think it's about 8% a year. It's roughly $125,000 per year. It generally went up every year, ever since we instituted it in 1986. And then do you have the one on the slide down? Do you have equalized value? Yes. No, next one. Okay, this is equalized valuation of Barron County since the 1980s.
I keep track of this. I've always liked this because you can see the ebb and flow of equalized valuation.
4,500,000,000.
Yeah, it's over 4 billion. Yeah, the Yankees wouldn't take us. They'd be giving up over millions of dollars. Yeah, consider that. The New York Yankees, the richest sports team in America, is worth more than the entire equalized valuation of Barron County. By the way, did anybody hear, even in COVID, how much the average price of an NBA team went up in the last calendar year? 11%. Pretty good return on your money when you get 11% in dribble wall. That's what I have. I've done this several presentations, Kiwanis, Rotary, everybody has liked it. You know, up here is the numbers I want to talk about. You know, when you look at the fact that our average annual increase in equalized valuation since over the last 40 years has been 4.3%, the state's been 7%. So we do lag behind the state. That's pretty interesting. Consistently, we've been up over 4%. So with that, if anybody wants any of this stuff, let me know. I'll give it to you. I'll do a presentation where you want me to. People like it. They find it really interesting. Dave Armstrong and I also have a little presentation from smartasset.com. You do realize that Barron County was rated number 5 of the top 10 lowest taxed counties in the state of Wisconsin. I also did another analysis. If you leave Barron County, you have a 52% chance, better than a 52% chance, the next county you land in will have an overall higher tax rate than Barron County. I'm talking overall, I'm talking city, village, town, county, school district. So that's it. Thank you.
You're attributing the increase in sales tax to tourism.
Tourism and people working here are staying here and spending their money here.
My question would be, has there ever been a discussion of improving tourism? I mean, as a county. What's the discussion? Who discusses that? I mean,
Dave Armstrong has had several meetings in here to discuss that, but you've got some of the associations, they like to keep control of that. So it's kind of a different dynamic. It's not that it's not discussed, but a lot of these are parts of associations, whether it's their local retail association or the lake association or lake homeowners association. So it's a different.
Randy, who works in the economic development department, most of her job is tourism.
Yeah.
Handling requests from people, setting up things.
I guess my point would be, how, as a county, what can we do to get more here, which generates more sales tax and helps our budget? I mean, that's.
Well, it is already happening, John. We see the number of tourist rooming houses that are coming up. That's the next wave of the future is tourist rooming houses.
Cities that do,
We just are trying to help it with that winter thing that we just gave $5,000 to.
I'm asking you.
Supervisor answer that question.
Something that goes along with that is when the study was done on Wisconsin and Barron County as far as number of homes that were short, Barron County is short 1,200 homes. So you want to have more people here, have somebody build more homes.
Bill, you have a question?
Well, as a long-time member of the property committee, we address that all the time through ATV trails, snowmobile trails, fat bike trails. And we know that there's a lot of people that come in just because of those guys. So, and with the grant process and everything, we're constantly, I should say, I am, Officer Wolf and the other people are constantly working on it.
The economic development is, they did the housing study along with some other municipalities in Barron, and there's a big push on for more affordable housing.
Jerry, you had a question?
Yes, our county is positioned just perfect for what, for spending money for, clothing, and we're the only county around that has any stores really. Now it's 127 miles to Rhinelander, it's 90 miles to Superior, it's 50 miles to Chippewa, and 50 miles to Polk County. To St. Croix Falls, but we're in a beautiful position here as far as, that's where the spending is coming from too, and then the fact that the recreation is growing so fast too. So.
Another thing that's helping us out here too is that we're getting to be more and more pro in getting the internet and stuff like that. What do you call it?
Broadband expansion, internet expansion.
I just heard here last week here from Mosaic there, what do you call them there, that we have better internet here than Boston, Massachusetts, by a long shot.
Terry, do you have a comment?
Yeah, I'm on the Economic Development Board, and I got to compliment the county and our economic development people because,
Terry, Terry.
yeah, you hear me? Hear me now?
Well, you pretend you hear.
Hello?
Lance will have.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, here's Lance. Hold on.
It's working? Can you hear me? Hello?
Okay.
Can you hear me there?
Try again.
Okay. I have to, I'm on the Economic Development Board, and I have to
Right,
compliment.
Terry, we're gonna have to get you next time.
Okay.
Jeff, you got some appointments?
Appointments. We had appointment, Point Dana Hellers at SID number 6, which is just north of, north of, the south exit there. The city wants to develop that. I think it'd be good on that. And, Board of Adjustment, Amy Kelsey. We need those both.
Can I get a motion to approve those two individuals? Motion by Supervisor Anderson, second by Supervisor Banks. All those in favor of those two appointments indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign? That motion's carried. Items for, or claims, petitions, correspondence. None left, so we must not have any. 20 suggestions, for future agenda items.
We'll approve bid pack number 2. And we're gonna have that change in certification 60.
And then the health insurance fund.
Yeah, update on health.
Okay.
We're getting the numbers together.
Anything else? If not, we'll adjourn by unanimous consent at 10:30. Thanks, everybody.